know if you guys have heard of the quote, but it's like, show me your friends and I'll show you who you really are.
I'll
And
show
that
you the
is-
future. No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, that's so true. Like, your friends are the definition of you. You hang out with them all the time. You have influence on them. They have influence on you. So if you're in a terrible situation, look who you're around. That's the reason why you're in a terrible situation. If you want to change your environment, what you're doing in your life, change your friends. Be around people who are equally as motivated as you and equal-minded as you. Otherwise, you're going to stay exactly where you are.
The same thing. I'm just trying to make it to a shorty home safe. Y'all live in the gang way, we live in the same way. We just trying to make it till the end of the day. Shorty, that's my main thing. We both want the same thing. I'm just trying to make it to a shorty home safe. Yeah, the hard work paid off. Copped the whip and paid it off. Rocket in this bitch, you notice that I'm taking.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the first StoryTime podcast. It feels good, don't it?
It does feel good to be
I
here.
love it
It
here.
feels good. It feels good. So I just want to start by introducing us. We're gonna bring y'all into some good podcast series. We got two guests today that we brought on to kind of start kicking us off. But let's bring you on board. So I'm Chris French, founder of What's Your Story vlog, as well as some of my team members here as well with this podcast. Introduce.
I'm Chase Triplett. I'm 20 years old, go to Purdue University. I'm the COO of What's Your Story vlog,
Co-host of the podcast.
co-host of the podcast as well.
I'm Kabir Muhammad. I'm 23. I'm part of What's Your Story vlog, and I guess COO too.
Yeah, I co-host the podcast, right? Yeah. All right.
Hi, I'm Zenna Wilhelm. Go to Wabash College. Longtime friend of Chris French, the Mr. CEO himself.
I guess. All right, let's go.
My name is Malik Barnes. I'm 20 years old. I go to Wabash College. I am also a friend of Chris French and one of the other guest speakers today.
Oh, man. So, yeah, what's Storytime? That's what we're titled. Storytime brought to What's Your Story podcast presentation. We're going to bring you guys a young adult's perspective. We're going to bring you guys a lot of stories, a lot of hardships, a lot of testimonies from just giving about some of the work that we've done over the past course of the 5 months or so from, starting What's Your Story. I've spoken to over 200 different young adults across the country now. It kind of builds up when it comes to talking about different hardships, different stories, but we see within all of them, it comes with a lot of similarities and a lot of different, alternatives too when it comes to different lifestyles as well. But yeah, so let's kind of kick it off. But how you week's been going? Like I know we've been back in school for about 2 weeks.
It's been a long week.
Man, it's been good. It feels good. How's it with COVID starting to ease up a little bit? Hopefully, right?
Well, classes are starting to ramp up and got a lot of homework these days.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's how they really get you. Is like it starts off really easy,
Yeah.
and then like before you know it, like it's midterms and like you're already getting slammed. But it really felt like this week was like 2 weeks before midterms. Like I was already
I
ready
agree.
to like
Yeah.
get started.
Man, that physics don't play, man.
Yeah, I took that last year. It sucked.
You took quantum?
No.
Yeah, when we get to talking about that's a different story right there. What about you, Kabir? What's up?
I'm doing all my thing solo dolo. I don't go to school anywhere or anymore. I kind of just retired from going to class, and I just hate teachers. I hate lectures. I hate homework. I'd rather just learn the natural way because that's just how I feel it's better for me. So.
Yeah. Man, I anybody got a rant? Anybody got a rant to spill about their week, man?
A rant?
A rant. Yeah. If not, then I always got something, and I got some.
You think you go ahead? You got something to say?
Go ahead.
So let me tell y'all about. We got a dining food court here on campus, right? So everybody goes there. Everybody eats there. Independent hall, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? See, my biggest thing about the independent hall, not to mention everybody goes there, right? So all independents that aren't in fraternities eat at the same dining hall. And so I go there every single day. I've been on this salad diet lately, right? I've been trying to get my
salad diet.
Yeah, I've been on a salad diet, right? It wouldn't because the food's not good, right? I mean, but what I'm getting at here is people be complaining about the food, but don't do nothing about it. I don't understand.
What can they do about
it? But still,
it?
no, this is my thing. So here at Wabash, you got so much freedom to be able to go talk to the chef. You literally looking at the person that's cooking your food. But what I don't understand is, how can you complain about something and not even say nothing to the chef and smile in his face and say thank you, like this is good, you know?
And I can say firsthand, I started the committee.
There's a committee for it.
I used to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's different here, yeah.
So I started the committee so that the students were able to speak directly to the chefs in a very streamlined, organized manner. This many people hated this meal. We should probably stop making it, right? People didn't want to fill out the surveys. People didn't want their voices heard.
Oh, but they hated though.
But they hated it, and they loved to complain. So like, that was last year. Last year, I was really involved with Wabash everywhere. But you know what I was learning was that I was really just burning myself out, and I had nothing to show for it. So this year, now that I'm back, I haven't been doing anything except my academics. I'm here to get my degree, and I'm here to move on, because what I'm finding out is that I think there's a sense of like camaraderie, right, with that complaining. Like, everybody loves to complain, like Spark sucks, like I know Spark sucks, like Spark sucks, right? But then when it comes down to like actually fix it, like nobody is like.
And you know the thing about it, Malik, bro, the food not even that bad.
That's what I'm saying.
The food is not that
But
bad.
people just complain about whatever they want to complain about, just to be complicated.
It's like a school full of certified haters, dog. That's what it sounds.
So
like.
and where we come from, grilled cheese cereal for dinner. We good. We eat that. And people complaining about some meat being a little tough. Come on.
Well, when all you've had is fine T-bone steaks and everything else every night, it's kind of hard to have.
I grew up just putting some ranch on it, some barbecue sauce, hot sauce.
I mean, hot sauce in ramen. Like, what do you like? That's the best meal.
Y'all ever had a syrup sandwich?
Come on, man. Come on.
Put some honey on there.
That's why I got so many cavities now. I hate going to the dentist. I'm telling you
about their fried bologna sandwich. Though. They just.
Yeah, I wasn't messing with the fried bologna with the little miracle.
Right. From the south with an F.
Look, I don't got nothing to say bad about the food this year, at least. I feel like they really stepped up the food this year. But one thing I am going to complain about is they be unprepared. Like a motherfucker. So, like, you go in there at 12 o'clock noon, and, like, from 12 to 1, for people who don't know, every student at Wabash College does not have a class. No one has a class from 12 to 1. So, I mean, obviously it makes sense that everybody's going to go rush at lunchtime to the dining hall. I go into the dining hall today. They got 2 stations to serve food, right? But only one of them is actually, like, staffed. There's only one of them's got a person there serving food. So we got a line all the way out the door. And they just got one lady scooping food, and this lady's like 90 years old, and she's moving like a turtle, going slow as Well, are we allowed to cuss on this? I might have to edit these words out.
Yeah, let's try and edit them out.
All right, my bad.
Trying to keep it friendly. Man, y'all ready to get into a podcast?
Yeah, let's get into the topic, man.
Let's do it.
Well, I'm gonna try and hold my ranks when I get going, but it's just some with irking my nerves about the stigma about doing it, right? So I'm gonna break it down. And I'm gonna relapse. Nike came up with a slogan, right? It's just do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do not understand that slogan and really apply it and believe in that slogan from a sense of all aspects, not just athletics, but when it comes to everyday life. So kind of what I want to talk about, and it brings me to this, because I had a conversation with some people, and they say that what they want to do. I want to do this. I want to start this business. I want to go to this. I want to go back to school. I want to do this. I want to get into build my faith. But they talk about it. But what's the difference between talking about it and actually doing it? So kind of what I want to talk about with us, especially with myself founding a business, Malik being a business owner himself, with us actually working with the business, and Zenon, you also work with music, and you're actually doing it, you know what I'm saying? Right. So what I want to talk about is kind of what is that separator between actually talking about it versus actually doing it and believing in yourself that you can do it and you can accomplish that. Because, I mean, it's like I said, we all know someone, and I had these conversations all the time, and it really bugs me when people say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. At this point, what you looking for me to affirm you? To say, like, yeah, like, do it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, because I was kind of talk about that from from even I'll hand it off to you first, Malik, to kind of talk about what is the transition of actually doing it versus talking about it, right?
Yeah. Well, first I would say just to hit on one specific point that you made was believing in yourself. It's surprisingly not what I would put on the front burner. I would say that the belief in yourself has to almost go on the back burner, because like there are going to be times where you sit and you question yourself, like, damn, am I doing the right thing? Or specifically like on the trail of like entrepreneurship, nobody else is doing it, right? So like you are your own role model, right? Like you are like your own a path maker in a way. So like that can be very intimidating. Like that can be very non-validating, right? Like you don't have anyone who's saying like, good job. In fact, you may have people even saying like, well, you should probably stop doing that business idea and go back to school, right? Or like, or you should stop doing that business idea and focus on this or focus on that. Now, granted, these are people who don't have businesses, and these are people who work 9 to 5s and they enjoy that, you know, that life. But you just have to start. Like that's the hardest part, is getting started. You can sit and you can plan and you can hypothesize. You can do that like for years. You can do that for years, come up with good ideas and how are you going to do it. But until you actually start doing it, you don't even need a plan, to be quite frank with you. You like you just have to have a vision. Like you have to be able to see yourself 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now. And that should be what I would say should drive you and should make you take the first step in that direction.
I think to like touch on what you said, I think a lot of people look at the end result instead of looking at step one. Right. And that looking at the end result is what scares them. Right. And they're like, yeah, the process. They don't want to go through the process. They just want to get there. Mm-hmm. But it's like you need to go through that process in order to build yourself, build your brand, and build your business. But I mean, if you can't be scared to take that risk and put yourself out there. You know, you might get rejected, you might get shot down, but that's okay. You get back up and you do it again.
Exactly, because that process is failures. Yeah. When he says go through the process, that's experiencing failures and still having that vision that drives you, like resilience, right? Or resilience. I'm not sure how y'all pronounce it up here, but
down from Marcus.
Right. I mean, coming from the perspective of like an artist, rapper, singer, whatever you want to say, it's like you're not gonna just drop a song. Like you're gonna start and you're not gonna have a lot of fans, right? You might have like your friends who are like, yeah, they'll go listen to your song, right? But you're not gonna drop a song and it's not gonna blow up overnight, your first song. I mean, it happens, I guess, every once in a while, but 99 times out of 100, it ain't happening. You gotta start somewhere, you know. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta build your fan base from the ground up. So like me, I mean, really, I don't got a lot of fans. I mean, I got like 400 Instagram followers, 50 followers on Twitter, and I got like 50 followers on Spotify. Like nothing crazy, but you know, it's a start. And like my mindset, and I think it's a good mindset and one that you need to have, is like I just gotta get to the next step, right? So I'd love to get 1 million followers, you know, to get millions of plays, but like that's not my goal right now. My goal is just to get 1,000, and then after the 1,000, let's hit 2,000. Let's hit 5,000. You know what I'm saying?
But that's hard. I want to say on that though. That's hard though, right? Because when you look around and you see even the people that's doing it, they don't show that they started with 50 followers. It's overnight with them, right? So then you looking at an artist, you say, what's different between me and them? It's like, oh, he trashed, but he got 1 million followers.
The thing is, you can't worry about what other people have done. You need to put your blinders on and just focus on you. Just because they, you know, got 1 million followers overnight, that doesn't mean you're going to as well.
What's your process?
You need to focus on what's unique for you to get to that next step.
They all have like a different background and upbringing, so other people have like more of a push behind them that can get them into those 50,000, 100,000 followers, you know, little pocket avenue. So it's really all just proper mindset. And there's this quote by Lil Wayne. He's all like, work hard and be more than what you see in the mirror. Let the world be your mirror. And pretty much just, have tunnel vision and just really think about it. Like, it takes 10,000 hours of hard work and dedication to get you from one place to another. And then what you want to do after that is do another 10,000 hours of that. And you'll be way in a way bigger position than you were when you first started. So that's kind of like a basis formula for like anybody to just use.
I want to speak from that perspective of, because the one thing you talked about is having advantages, right? So some people have an early start on other people. So for example, with me starting this business, how, speak of it, and I can speak on it from my sense, but right, I kind of want to hit Malik with his perspective, right? But how do we not allow that to demolish our dreams or allow that to really hold us back, right? So I can look at someone else and say they have, a push start. They can get a loan, or their parents can give them a loan to start a business. But at the same time, I'm not starting mine because I don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you kind of
chip on your shoulder
beat that? Yeah, how do you kind of beat the odds? Kind of, y'all talk on that. Yeah, speaking of that.
At the end of the day, if you're looking at someone who has parents that are that have money, you can't compare yourselves to them because they don't have the same motivation as you. You have to have that different mindset as I'm starting from the bottom, like the rock bottom. So you have to grind harder than that person. You have to do more.
But how is that fair? How is that fair for me?
It's not fair.
It's not.
Life isn't fair. Life is not
Welcome
fair.
to the life of the minorities.
Yeah.
It's not fair. But if you want to get to that next level, you got to do it.
If you're growing up thinking that you owe something in this world, like, bro, you so wrong, because life is not fair. Bad shit happens to good people all the time, and people just don't have the ability to control any of that. So they just make do with what they get, and they at least be humble about it.
My thing is that you are your biggest barrier. And you will always be your biggest barrier, and you should always be your biggest barrier, right? Like, no matter what you face, it's you who decides how you approach it and what you do about the mountain or the giant that is in front of you, right? If you're gonna, be intimidated by it and then you're gonna turn around and run away, right? You made that decision. Or are you gonna keep pushing and try to climb the mountain and overcome the mountain and then, move on to the next one? It's a personal choice.
Yeah, and speaking of someone who actually climbed a mountain, it's a very good metaphor actually, because like you're standing at the bottom, you're like, that mountain's tall. Right. I was about to cuss. that mountain is very tall. It's like, there's no way I'm climbing to the top of that, right? But I mean, the trick is you just start. You just start walking. I mean, and when you first start walking, the ground is like flat, and it's just like, oh, I'm just walking like a normal street. But then it starts getting steeper and steeper. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that speaks to like when you first start your business, like you're not gonna go anywhere at first. Like you're not making a lot of progress, but then eventually it'll start getting exponential. I'm a math-minded guy, right? So you're gonna hit that exponential where you're shooting up. And me and Chris were talking about this the other day. If you think about like progress and I guess achievements as like a math in a math lens, it's like the inputs are time and effort. You put in time and you put in effort and you get progress. And so if you don't, and so like when someone has more resources, right, they start off with that loan, they come from a richer family or whatever, then on that exponential curve, they're just a little farther ahead from you. So you just got to put in the time and effort to catch up to them.
And make that progress, right? You hit on something at the bottom of the mountain. Look, this is what I want to call that. Grounds crew. Because you look around and we all standing at the same spot. We all standing at the same spot. So yeah, we're gonna kind of talk on that. So let's continue to speak on the grounds crew, the grounds crew's perspective. So say we start climbing up this mountain, and say we actually do get into that class that was really holding us back, or that we thought we can achieve, or we actually do get into that entrepreneurship realm that we thought that that we always wanted to do, and we actually take the step forward to do, or music, whatever the case may be. We started, but we all know about the roadblocks, the tumblers that come slaying down the mountain. And you got to duck and dodge and not turn around and call it quits, right? Because it's always that way out. You can always call it quits at any time, any place, anywhere. You can always put that time and energy and say, I'm done. How do you kind of avoid that and kind of keep that goal, the focus, the main goal, and the goal, the main focus, right? So.
Well, I'm gonna keep going with the mountain metaphor, right? when you climb a mountain, it's not a straight path straight from the bottom to the top. You're going winding around the mountain, winding path. And I remember, because like I said, I literally climbed a mountain down in Tennessee. It wasn't like Mount Everest, but it was like a mile. It was more than a mile up in the Gatlinburg, yeah. So there was a point, right? So we climbed for a while, for I don't know, maybe like an hour or so, and then we started going down. And I was like, wait, we're supposed to be climbing a mountain. Why are we going down?
Keep it right there. You started going down. He started going backward.
We had to go down to go up.
But when you started going down, did you see the way going up when you was going down?
I mean, not really.
So when you started going backwards, you had no clue what was ahead of you, that you was going back to go forward.
Well, I mean, obviously, I knew the path was supposed to take us to the top of the mountain.
Right.
But, I mean, we start going downhill, and I'm like, which mountain are we climbing again? Because, like, I don't even...
We're supposed to be going up.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And, I mean... that was a thing that I really took away from when I went on that hike to climb the mountain. It's like sometimes you got to go down to go up. Sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards.
Two steps forward, one step back.
You was willing to take that risk though, because you knew, this mountain eventually I'm gonna get to the top. But people lack the ambition to take the risk because they don't know if going down will bring me back up. That's true. So a lot of them kind of like, I mean, I don't do it because I got a lot of pride. I hate failure, but a lot of people would just be like, screw this, I'm out. I'm not with it. So, but like, if you just have that ambition, that little fire in your heart, that's just like, oh, I'm not giving up. Regardless if I keep going further down, I'm gonna make it to the top eventually.
But like something I really want to like highlight is like having that fire in your heart, or when people say like that, like, oh, he just has that drive or that ambition, or he has that fire. That doesn't mean that those people don't ever feel discouraged. That doesn't mean that those people don't ever feel themselves going down on the path that they're supposed to be going up, right? So like, you may, and this is something that I've just learned over the course of my life. Like, you can't look at someone and tell how they're doing really. Right. I mean, people are really good at putting on, like they're like poker face in a way, or like these masks. I mean, I would say to an extent, like we all wear masks. So, right. So, I mean, in a sense, back to kind of what Chase pointed on earlier, like you can't really work, like you have to put on those blinders. Like you have to really try to stay focused on your goal. And most importantly, like you have to take care of yourself along the way, because like I said, you're your biggest roadblock. You're going to be the one who, like if you wake up one day, because you're not getting enough sleep, or you're not properly taking care of your health, right? Then like you're going to feel you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel depressed, whatever title you want to put on it. Like you're going to feel some kind of way because you're not taking care of yourself. So, I mean, like what you put into your body, it actually matters. It actually affects your mental state and your mood.
Going back to my salad diet at Sparks.
Absolutely, right. Absolutely. And then, I mean, just looking...
All lettuce, no ranch.
That's the opposite of
no
mine.
dressing. No dressing. You know what I'm saying?
Mine's like ranch and chicken, a little bit of lettuce.
No ranch, get a little taste on the...
Right. But you got to keep pushing forward. And, yeah.
What you said resonated with me a little bit, because... I'm the type of person that if I'm having a terrible day, if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm still going to say I'm good.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to say, oh, I'm having a terrible day, this went wrong. No. Like, even my girlfriend would be like, how are you today? I'm like, I'm good. But in my head, like, I could be going through a million different things, but I'm not going to let somebody know that I'm doing bad, because at the end of the day, I know that I will be okay. Right. And I don't think people understand that concept, that you will be okay. It may be tough now, but just keep pushing forward, keep fighting, and you will be okay.
Very, very well said. Just like that.
And I think everything comes down to mentality, really, at least in my perspective. Like, everything in life is all just about your mentality, how you process things, and how you speak to yourself in private, But you got to set your mind on a goal, and you just got to keep pushing for it. Otherwise, you'll never get there. It's like the mountain, right? If you're not walking the path towards the top, you're not going to reach the top. Right. and you just kind of like keep your mind focused, and eventually you'll get there. You just take it step by step by step. Like I said in my case, like right now I got 50 followers, and then you get 100, and you get 150, but then maybe you lose a couple, right? And now you drop back down to like 140, 130. But as long as I have it in my head that I'm gonna make it, right, and I'm gonna be successful, and I keep making my music, and I keep learning things, and I keep improving, then eventually, my 50 followers is going to turn to 1 million eventually.
Yeah, and let me just say, I mean, I challenge you to just really like look around at some of the most successful businesses and companies and how they started. And I think you'd be amazed and maybe even a little like surprised that like, man, they started with such a shitty idea, right? Like, and they started with such a bad idea. How did they become now like one of the most successful?
Well, times were different back then, though.
To be quite frank, I think it's persistence.
One of my favorite examples of that.
Persistence. Whatever you're doing.
Yeah. One of my favorite examples of that is Tesla, because there was multiple times in like Tesla's, I guess, life where they almost went bankrupt.
That's
they almost
cheating, though. That's
what
cheating.
Do you mean that's
Elon
cheating?
came from money. I mean, that was like you talk about starting with resources.
Yeah, okay, I'm not talking about starting from the bottom, but like I said, there was several times where Tesla almost failed completely. Right. And Elon, even though he may have came from a privileged background, I still credit him like with his mentality and his work ethic, his effort. He pushed through the hard times. He gave everything, and now Tesla is a successful company.
And see, like my problem with examples like that is that it almost makes it for me personally hard to connect, because in my head I'm looking at somebody like Elon Musk and I'm like, well, if you don't start Tesla, then what else are you going to do? And it's like, well, you have the money to go and do whatever else you want, right? For me, right, exactly, like you have these safety nets. Like for me, it's like as far as my company, like I at least can openly admit that like I deal with these pressures. Like, what if my company fails? What if my company does not take off, right? And then it's like, what am I going to do then? And it's like, oh well, at least I'm still in school, right? Like at least that is a back burner. But I would say that for the most part, and for the entrepreneur truly starting from rock bottom, that's not the case.
Make it work by any means.
I want to say like what truly, and I'm telling y'all, because there's somebody out there right now that literally just got done talking about doing something and who has not done it, literally. So I'm telling y'all from the ground perspective of being an entrepreneur myself, I didn't even talk about it. I mean, I could, Zenon right here is my roommate. I mean, I didn't even bring it up to him until maybe 3 or 4 weeks after I actually started the business. What are you talking about it for? What are you talking about it for if it's not, helping you even get it started? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of talking that's going on. It's a lot of talking going on, but not a lot of action. But come on, y'all.
But I think in that talking, they're looking for some. Excuse me.
Ooh.
They're looking for something from you. And
they're looking for validation.
They're looking for that.
Say it again, man.
That validation.
Is it a good idea? Is it
somebody
a bad
to
idea?
pat you on the back, be like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, you got this.
That's a
Keep
good
going."
idea.
Yeah.
But see, like my thing is like, how many pats on the back do you need before you start?
That's true.
Right. So it's like I'm pretty sure Chris isn't the first person who heard this other person's idea, right? So how many times do you need somebody to tell you that that's a good idea before you get started? My mentality about it is really don't tell anybody, because I don't want the negative and I really don't necessarily want the positive either, right? Like I want to find my validation within myself, because at the end of the day, when times get hard and when people who are not in your shoes have such a loud input, they don't understand the context, they don't understand the circumstances, they don't understand your vision. If nobody else understands your vision, if nobody else sees your vision, you have to. And that's just how I feel.
So talk about it, Kabir. I mean, you come from a different perspective, right? Like talk from the aspect of not being in school. You're taking a leap of faith, and maybe that may be the case, right? When it comes into you actually saying, I want to follow my dream passion of in videography and filmmaking. You've done it from literally YouTube videos, practicing yourself, buying your own camera. You've done it from no excuses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, it was really just like I wasn't going anywhere with my life, so I was at dead end job after dead end job, and people I was hanging around with, like I noticed them. They were in a different.
I want to hit on that. We're gonna come back to the people you're hanging around. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that.
They're in a different occupation, I guess I could say that. And I was like, I know I'm not gonna go down that route. I just don't feel myself going down that route. I'd rather be something more creative or artist like I feel like that's always been my niche. Like everyone says about me, like they like my personality, they think I'm creative, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, okay, let me focus on this part. Even though I still have that 9 to 5 and stuff like that, and I'm still doing a dead end job, but it was last year when I realized that, film and videography and photography, all of that really gets a lot of people to like me, and it really opens up more doors for me. So I just made sure I kept pursuing that as like a 5, 10, 20-year goal. I made sure that was in the hindsight. No matter how much of jobs come in my life or women or friends to come in and out of my life, like no matter how much of that comes in my life, I just know that the 15, 20-year goal is always going to be there. And, it took a while to figure that out because I moved to this state. I knew nobody in the state. I had to make friends all over again. And like,
how many people use that as an excuse? How many people literally
come from Chicago and come out here and they just work and just don't do nothing with their life no more. Like people come from Gary, they come from all parts of like really bad situations or places just to come out here, and they realize like, yeah, it's still kind of a bad area, but if you have that fire or that drive to get yourself into a better position, you can do it here.
You talked about two things that I want to take this to. Let's kind of shift gears here. Friends and distractions. Mm-hmm. I want to talk on distractions first, because a lot of time the reason that you can't achieve the goal or whatever you're talking about, whatever you blab in your mouth about, whatever you want to do, you can't achieve that because you got too many other things that's on your mind in 24 hours of the day. Mm-hmm. Whatever the case may be, it may be video games, maybe talking to your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever the case may be, talking to whoever these outside factors, or even you're not getting enough sleep at night, you out doing things you're not supposed to be doing. You got all these other distractions that's not helping you move forward. Mm-hmm. And also that goes hand in hand with your friends. Because half the time, if you got all these other distractions, they got them too. And it may be the case where they are the ones that are distracting you. Mm-hmm. So kind of speak on those two things: your friends, your circle around you, and I also want to speak on the distractions that's in your life that's stopping you from go from that. Okay.
You want me to start? Or
I'm gonna throw this one to Chase. I'm gonna throw it on Chase to start. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard of the quote, but it's like, show me your friends and I'll show you who you really are.
I'll show you the future. Oh no, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like that's so true. Like your friends are the definition of you. You hang out with them all the time. You have influence on them. They have influence on you. So if you're in a terrible situation, look who you're around. That's the reason why you're in a terrible situation. If you want to change your environment, what you're doing in your life, change your friends. Be around people who are equally as motivated as you and equal-minded as you. Otherwise, you're going to stay exactly where you are.
It's hard, though, when I grew up with him, Chase. I grew up with him.
We both grew up with him.
I grew up with him.
We both did.
So talk about, you grew up with the, cutting ties. And it's like, oh, you better than me.
But you can't let that hold you down. Like, people are, you don't owe anybody anything. You just because you're going to another level, that doesn't mean you have to bring them with you. If they're not motivated as you got to leave them behind. Simple as that.
Come.
You're right. Some people can't come, and you have to be okay with that.
I think. I think what kind of helps with that is just moving somewhere new.
Oh yeah. We want to take the easy right out. I'm heading East Coast. You know what I'm saying? West Coast.
Well, then it's not like you have to like blow them off or nothing. It's just like, oh, I can't hang out with you because I'm across the country.
And even like in like smaller terms, like of displacing yourself. Like, so even if you don't move across the country, but like moving yourself, I mean, changing your habits. I mean, if you smoke and you drink all the time and that's all your friends like to do, right? Maybe you need to go do something else. Shit, go to the library, go sit in the library, go to a public park, take a walk, go for a jog. I mean, like, do anything other than these types of distractions, because all they do is they make you temporarily feel good and they make all your problems temporarily go away. But you know what? As soon as they wear off, if you're an anxious person like me, the first thing my mind does is go, okay, well, how much progress did we make on this goal, this goal, this goal? And then I'm just looking at myself like, damn, we didn't do nothing. So you know what my first instinct is always to do?
Go right back.
Go right back. Why? Because it's comfortable and it's familiar. I know it. I'm comfortable there. It's chill. Everything's okay here. But in reality, like, you just have to really be honest with yourself, and you can't really be afraid to like be honest with yourself. And I think that if you're not honest with anybody, be honest with yourself. One of my old teachers, bless her heart, Miss Ross, but she had a very empirical way of analyzing friends, and she would go, are they trying to go someplace spiritually, physically, or mentally? Are they trying to grow? And then we would go, no. And she would go, are they paying your bills? Are they coming up with new business ideas? Are they doing anything for you? Are they pushing you? Are they motivating you? And then we'd say no. And she said, they're not your friend. She said, if y'all aren't sharpening each other, right? Because iron sharpens iron. If y'all aren't sharpening each other, then they're not really your friend. They're just somebody that you like to be around. Right?
I got another quote for that to tie in with yours and Chase's quote.
You know, all aspects though, because we can come back on this and we'll bring it for next week, another week. But relationships.
Oof. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. we
Same way in relationships.
we gonna need more than just a down.
What I was saying though is like friends, and I guess relationships, it works too, but friends are like an elevator. You know, they either take you up or they take you down, but you don't get off at the same floor.
I like that.
So you need friends that's going to take you up, not friends that's going to drag you down.
I like that. Kabir, you want to hit on anything with the friends and the distractions, please?
Well, I was gonna talk about your friend that said all of that about they're not your friend.
Oh, yeah.
That
teacher,
type
yep.
of mentality
Miss Ross.
Yeah. That mentality comes with time and age, because I could just tell she's probably in her 50s or something like that.
She's wise. She's wise and old.
So she probably seen it, done it 10,000 times already.
Y'all haven't read Proverbs, the book of wisdom.
Right. Speaking to the youth in this generation, a lot of the youth just in one ear and out the other.
Right.
You can't really tell them shit. You're gonna have to let them, like, you know, take that year, maybe 2 years of just back and forth, off and on with friends, off and on with women, off and on with jobs. Like, you're gonna have to let them do all that, because in time they're gonna look back and like, damn, I'm 23.
You know what's crazy to me is,
I
this is something also that's so crazy, and it baffles me every single time, because it's like, we have the wise, right? We have, and if you're not religious out there, you don't read the book of Proverbs, right? About wisdom, right? Then we have the elder, right? But wisdom does not come from age necessarily.
Well, yeah.
But the thing is, with those people that are wise and that are older that we can take from, you're listening to them, but are you believing what they're saying? Because in all aspect, I don't believe that people are believing what they're saying, because if that was the case, then it's like they said, I used to party in college. I used to smoke and drink. I used to do this and that. But it didn't do nothing for me, so I gave it up. And this is where I got to. But are you listening or are you believing it? Because if you believe in it, then you put it down and do the same thing that they did and be better than them. Am I wrong? You see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm trying? Yeah.
But I think that there's an element of timing. Now I'm a relatively Christian follower, right? So I kind of believe in you're in the right place at the right time, even right now. Like, even though it may not feel like it, like you're exactly where you need to be in life. And I kind of see like some of those things of like spending years, right, going through all of this. Like, I see that it's like necessary. Like, you needed to go through that, like, for your development as a person. Like, you needed to almost what you think is wasting time. It's really like you developing. So I mean, it's kind of a multifaceted
yeah,
way, right?
it's
But
tough.
It's all a matter of perspective at the end of the day.
That's right.
How you see it can be a different view from someone else, but it's all just different perspective.
I want to tell y'all, we all 20s. We all early age 20s. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, we speaking from y'all, you know what I'm saying? So it's like y'all have no excuses. And that's one thing that I want to hit at as we kind of wrap up here. But we have no excuses. We talking from... y'all talking to y'all, you know. So,
Pretty much, yeah.
We ain't no OGs.
right, we still learning, figuring it out too, right? So, yeah. So,
I would just say, don't be afraid to ask yourself questions. What am I doing with my life right now? What are my goals? Like,
You're gonna ask that in a few years anyway.
exactly.
I think one question you need to ask yourself every day: what did I do today to get closer to my goal?
yeah.
Absolutely.
I got another question on that. Every single day, what am I doing to serve my purpose?
That's right.
And if you don't know what that is, then that means some self-discovery needs to be figured out.
How do you find your purpose? That's a topic.
That is a topic. I mean, like I said, I've spoken with, man, over the course of the last year, I've spoken with so many young adults, so many have so many broad understanding of what it means to be a young adult. A lot of people don't even understand the transition from adolescence to adulthood, and kind of the naviance and the lack of navigation when it comes to kind of making that transition. And when we don't understand that, then we don't make it better in the future for our kids and our kids to come, right? So it's like one of those things that when I was in college, I didn't necessarily know what to do in my life, and I didn't have it figured out. But why is the case that college students now can't have to be in college and not have it? It's such an area with so many hardships that we act like we cannot figure it out. Same thing with mental health. Same thing with all these. Why don't we talk about mental health Let me stop. Mental health prevention rather than recognizing mental health. Is that not a thing?
Yeah,
is it not a way to prevent mental health? But why do we have all these organizations that try and recognize mental health, all these trainings, but not have trainings to prevent mental health? So, I mean, and I kind of took us off.
A lot of systems are reactionary, right? Instead of relatively actionary, right? And in the beginning, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the reason that it seems like this, these missing pieces of wisdom being passed down from generation to generation, do you think that is because, I mean, as Kabir said earlier, like, you can't really tell us anything. Like, it goes in one ear and out the other, and like, we just have to experience it. Now, in terms of things like mental health and all that other stuff, that's a whole nother podcast.
Right,
that can
for
be
sure.
prevented. There are steps that can be taken, right? Like, let me be very clear on that.
Some of it's rooted in segregation and what's it called? Jim Crow. All the way. Some of it's rooted back in racism, though, but I'm not going to touch on that yet.
Yeah. But, I mean, and to answer your question, right, do we think that is because of just us not listening? You can't tell us anything, right? And speaking from the young adult perspective, I would say a lot of the time that is the case. And that just comes from, are we just listening, or are we believing them in what they're saying? Yeah. Like, do we actually, because most of the time, watch this, if we tell you that if you step your left foot hop twice, skip once, you're going to get blew up. Or, you're going to hit a TikTok bomb or something, right? You can tell them that. But most kids most young adults in this generation are going to do it anyway until they see somebody do it the first time. So it's like, are you believing it, or are you just listening to it? So I think a lot of times we just take it for granted, and we just listen to a lot of people, even who's dropping wisdom. And the same thing in the classroom. We just listen to a lot of people when it comes to, and even this podcast. I hope y'all listening, but I also hope that you guys are believing in what we're saying, because we got the proof. The proof is in the pudding, right? So I think that's a topic that we can touch on too in the coming weeks.
I think for me, I just want to say a few things.
Yep.
I was blessed enough to grow up in a 2-parent household, and for a lot of people, black or white, that's not the case. So both of my parents, I was born and raised in a city that is looked at as, one of the worst cities in Indiana and this country. Yeah. But my parents lived there all their lives. They were born and raised there. They both decided that they weren't going to let that stop them, right? And so both of my parents have college degrees. and they wanted to instill in that in me and my sister. So I think a lot of kids growing up today don't necessarily have that parent system where their parents, are teaching them right from wrong, teaching them the core values that kids need to better themselves.
That's right.
I was fortunate enough to have that. I talk to my dad all the time. He's, if he's listening, you're my mentor. I wouldn't be anything without them. So,
And I think we could probably do a whole episode or maybe 5 episodes just on parenting. I guess the rights and wrongs of parenting and like the effects the parenting, the long-lasting effects that parenting can have on people, especially their mental health and like their mentality. There's a lot of stuff to talk about in that topic. So, Chris, you want to introduce the next talking point?
Yeah, so, just going back off of that, we can kind of close up with showing people the true perception of the grounds crew, right? I think that is that our title for the podcast, the grounds crew. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think it's really something about being stuck in the mud and just really getting it off the ground. Because I think they say a lot of businesses fail within the first 6 months. But watch this, y'all. You in the ground when you first start, but I say within the first 6 months, you in the ground the entire step of the way. You don't come out of that ground for a long time. So, I mean, even getting it started, getting your LLC, getting your sole whatever you may do with orientation of starting your business or starting your music ship, right? Getting your own engineer, starting to really put some money into your investments, whatever the case may be, whatever you're getting started with, whatever the case may be, right? I think that having that persistence in what you're doing and just doing it over and over and over to really get out of that ground, and remember that putting in that work within the ground's perspective can take longer than you would like, can take longer than we all would like, but having that motivation and having that end goal really can get us there.
And you know what the beautiful thing is? You're only gonna get better. It's only up. You know what I'm saying? If you're putting in the work, you're putting in time, and you're being true to yourself and your vision, like you're only gonna get better.
As long as you don't cheat yourself.
Yeah, as long as you don't cut corners and cheat yourself, that's true. But, I mean, as I keep making more and more songs, like, I'm only going to improve as an artist. I'm going to figure out, okay, last song, I didn't like how this was. So, on this one, I'm going to record it a little differently. Or, I didn't like the effects I put on the last one. I'm going to turn down the reverb. I don't want so much echoing. And you're only going to get better and better. I mean, Drake's album just dropped today. Yeah. So, I mean, at one point,
secret promo over here. Drake reached out to Z to tell him what's cut that check.
He's in the OVO unit.
Cut that check. Make sure we all get a slice of.
But yeah, like when Drake first started, right? He wasn't as good as he is today, and I don't know. I just find that, like I said, beautiful because it's only up. You're only gonna get better, and it's like, I mean, I think I'm good now. I think I'm a pretty good musician, and it just kind of it's exciting to think, but like I'm gonna get so much better.
That's right. And like, excuse my language. I know we were trying not to cuss, but like this phrase has to be said just the way it's said. You gotta think, know, walk, talk, and act like you are the shit. Period. If nobody else believes,
you gotta believe.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of. I think I saw this on the internet somewhere. Some of y'all probably seen it, but it's like, walk like you the king, or you don't give a who the king is.
Oh, that's gonna get me into something else, because I got some some history with some people, and just walk in a room and think because your title is something that I am nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right. We're gonna
say that for next week.
Yeah, we got so many, and like I said, this is just episode 1, and we're bringing so much to you guys. I mean, just what we do. We go out right now. We just got done filming yesterday at Purdue University, doing some promo with what's going on with with our What's Your College, something that we're really looking to bring inspirational cultivation with this generation with authentic college recruitment, right? So we're really trying to help the next set of generational young adults, or whoever the case may be, even if you're going to a college, make the right decision and not really think about it from the bird's eye view that a college or someone may give to you, right, for a selling point, but really think about it from the grounds perspective. It goes back to the grounds crew, but the grounds perspective of the students that's actually there on campus and how they're kind of living there on campus. So we'll be doing that from the goal is to hit every school in the state of Indiana, given. In reality, we try to we work from the largest to the smallest, right? So over that little, way up the what's the PNW or the IU, the little smaller, the smaller scale schools. If we don't hit y'all, we still love y'all. We got love for y'all, but we gonna try and hit the larger ranking ones from the jump, and then we're gonna work our way down with the states. So that's how we're gonna really come to y'all with the fall. We're doing student cover letters. We're doing that for all students out there that's trying to get their story told to try and get another job, right? So we really want to highlight yourself as who you are and highlight yourself as your real authentic personality so that you can fit in the work development, right, or the work culture somewhere that really is welcoming for you and your personality as well, that you can thrive in.
When he says cover letters, he means video cover letters to be specific.
Yeah, video cover letters, right? So you kind of stand in front of the camera, have your story told, and kind of whatever you want to highlight with that. So we do those as well as testimonial promotion videos for different businesses. I'll throw it to Malik. What's going on in your end? If give yourself a shot with what you do and everything. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we're looking at some ways that we can pretty much grow produce for everybody. Kabir kind of talked a little bit about, some Jim Crow, some segregation, some bigger issues in America. And my business hopes to be a driving economic force behind resolving most of those. So, yeah.
I'll go ahead and plug my socials.
What you working on, Z? Come on, tell them about what's going on.
Well, yeah. I got an album coming up. I just dropped a single today. Not today, sorry. I kept last week. It's called Gangway. Like I said, check my socials. So it's Zeno, Zenno. So that's Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Zenno, right? Or if you're on Instagram, Twitter, it's Zeno the Kid.
What's you got a title for the album yet?
The Beginning.
You got an album
or now you got me thinking I might change it to The Grounds Crew.
You got an album cover yet?
Nah, I don't have a cover yet. I have to talk off podcast.
right.
I know we got some big stuff rolling up here. But yeah, we're all working. Chase, Kabir, you guys got anything for the people?
I'm doing this full time. I'm doing, my job part time now, but this is pretty much what I do.
Right. What's your story? Since we're getting it? Kabir's working with us, and we got what's
more
your
to come. More to come, though. A lot more to come.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. By no means are we like sitting here talking like we're experts or therapists or anything. We're just, in our 20s. We're highly motivated at what we do, and we just want to. If we can help, if you're thinking about changing your situation, or if you don't like where you are. We just want to be that motivating factor to help get you there. We're young adults who realize that process from the teenage years and adolescence to adulthood is rough, and we're going through it right now. But at the same time, we're highly motivated and we're ready for that next step. So if you're having trouble getting to the next step, we're here for you. So just listen.
Let's take you there.
Yeah.
What do you say? Let's take you there. Y'all know about that. That's back in the day. But let's take them there. So we signing off. The StoryTime podcast presented by What's Your Story podcast, and see you next week.
Yep.
Deuces.
We're out here.